Get on your feet and make some noise for your Cleveland Cavaliers!
Guys, how's it going today? I'm going to talk about Cleveland today. They are really, really struggling. Just a couple nights ago, they played the Timberwolves in Minnesota, and they lost by 28 points. They were down by 41 at one point in that game. And then just last night, they played Toronto in Toronto, and they lost by 34 points, 133 to 99. And I think the thing that really stands out, both of these games, they scored 99 points. Not Cavalier-like. Normally they score a bunch. But what they did was give up 127 and 133 points. That's 130 points on average the last two games. And the game before that, they gave up 127 in a 4-point win over the Magic. The Cavaliers' defense is atrocious. And that's really the reason for their struggles right now. What I'm really disappointed in, though, is I think that these guys right now, they just don't seem to care so much. And I know that they always turn it on in the playoffs, and I'm not really worried about that, the playoffs, but I am worried about them and what seed they get because, to be honest, I think they're going to end up with the third seed, and they're going to end up having to face Toronto in the second round in Toronto. And Toronto just beat them by 34 points at home. I mean, I really do think this Raptors team can beat the Cavaliers. And primarily it's because the Cavaliers have an awful defense. What's interesting, though, is they've got a couple good defenders on their squad. LeBron's a good defender, although he's kind of gone downhill defensively the last few years. They've got J.R. Smith, who's normally a decent defender. Jay Crowder's a great defender. But for some reason, they just can't guard anybody. I think the reason that they're having such a tough time is because, these one-on-one defenders, they might be good, but once someone gets to the rim, you got to have someone to protect it. And Kevin Love playing big man, he's not a rim protector. Tristan Thompson in the past, people thought he was, but he's not a rim protector. He's a decent rebounder, but he's not going to block shots. He's not going to alter shots. You don't have to have just a guy that swats every shot away. You got to have someone who at least can alter someone's shot when they get to the rim, or even on switches, if you get a big man and a guard up top on an ISO. Like, for example, DeMar DeRozan last night. I mean, he started to get his game going rolling, late in the game. But what really happened, though, was the Cavaliers just pretty much let every team that they have played recently, they just let them get to the basket. They just let them score. They weren't even getting back on defense. And I think one of the ways that they can really turn this season around and maybe kind of fix this problem is through one trade, and that's to grab DeAndre Jordan. I'm not sure if they'll end up doing it because the Clippers really want that Nets pick. I think if the Cavs really want to put it all into this season and try and win a championship, they have to just give up that draft pick. Plus, the Nets right now aren't doing bad. I think the Nets pick would be 9th or so right now, which isn't that great of a pick, to be honest with you. So I don't know how badly the Cavs really should want to hang on to that pick. I think they should go all in, grab DeAndre Jordan, because they cannot guard anybody to save their life. And, I think the Cavaliers I still would pick them to win the East primarily because of LeBron James, and he's obviously the best player in the world. But, I mean, in their last 6-7 games, they've only won 2 of them. And they had a close game against Golden State, but they lost to Sacramento. They lost to the Jazz. They got destroyed by Boston. They barely got by Orlando. They got killed by Minnesota and Toronto. And they've just been giving up a ton of points. Coming up on their schedule, they've got the Pacers, which are a decent team. They've got the Warriors. I wouldn't be surprised to see them lose both of these next 2 games. But then they play Orlando. They play Oklahoma City at home. I would expect a couple wins there. I just think the Cavaliers right now, they need to really start getting the defensive end together. Because Isaiah Thomas is going to help them offensively. He's an offensive machine. He's going to score the basketball. But he hurts them defensively. He's a defensive liability no matter who he's guarding. So I think the Cavs really need help defensively, and I think it comes at the rim. They got to protect the rim. They got to grab a guy like DeAndre Jordan, maybe Marc Gasol. I don't know, someone who's big inside, who can block or alter shots. If they don't do that, I think the Cavs are going to have a rough time in the East, and I really would honestly probably be able to say, if they haven't fixed it by then, I would say Boston versus Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh!